So in today's video, we're going to talk about remote work and how essentially AI, artificial intelligence, is going to revolutionize the way or the whole concept of the work week, what we have traditionally known about it, and some of the advances or, how should I say, innovations that will ultimately make the work week a little more bearable, a little more interesting, and a little more efficient. So there are four key components. So before that, kind of give you a background on this whole concept of the 5-day work week. Went back early 20th century, 1908, you had cotton mill owners who had some Jewish workers. They wanted to recognize Sabbath. That typically fell on late Friday evening into the weekend, and so Jewish workers were unable to do that. And so beginning 1908, the industrialists, particularly the cotton mill owners, decided to let their Jewish employees have that. And then came 1926 with Henry Ford. He had several automobile factories, and his workers, he was noticing as he was giving the weekends off that they would do leisure activities like going out, sporting events, picnics, spend time with their families and loved ones, and ultimately what came about is more happy and productive workers. It wasn't until 1940 that the Fair Labor Act, Fair Standards Labor Act, that the U.S. actually recognized that as a legal doctrine, that making the Saturday and Sunday not part of the work week was actually instituted, and so that workers were not required to go to work on the weekends. Let's fast forward it to kind of where we are today. So the 5-day work week was kind of like implemented and continued and consisted throughout. And I can certainly remember when I was in my 20s, 30s, I was certainly at the office most of the day, all the days, and that you were actually required to call in sick to your boss if for some reason you couldn't make it. So what happened was, of course, we had the Black Swan event, the coronavirus, which essentially changed everything. The concept of having social interactions or face-to-face interactions with someone could actually make it lethal or make you very sick. And so that kind of turned the whole 5-day work week up on its head. And throughout the 2022, 2023, we've seen that, that was just more of an emphasis on hybrid work. And that kind of evolved from work at home because of what happened with the pandemic to now, which was kind of a hybrid or accepted way of doing work. And there were kind of social arguments for it. Workers were saying, hey, we're actually more productive by working at home, and we can, be with our families, but we actually have more kind of creativity, more autonomy to do things and to actually be more efficient. And so the kind of arguments on both sides, I think. In any case, that's the whole start of kind of the 5-day work week, the nexus of that and how that came about. Let's fast forward into how AI, as I explained, the topic of today's video, is going to actually change that and perhaps institute a more 4-day work week as a mandate or social norm or standard to what we have seen previously as a 5-day work week. So the first is essentially it's going to automate a lot of tasks. So AI is already automating a lot of tasks, stuff as customer service representative, data entry, all these types of functions that we have done as humans can now be taken over more efficiently, more quickly through AI. And so that's going to, if that was part of what you were doing, maybe 20 or 30% of your responsibilities as a worker at a company, if AI could offload that and do that for you, well, then you can concentrate on more productive tasks and use that time more efficiently. So that's one reason that is going to basically see perhaps a move to a 4-day work week due to the AI. Second is time efficiency, just being able to be more efficient with your time. And like I said, if you're perhaps in the marketing department or you're a software programmer or coder, AI has basically made it more efficient, more quicker to do those tasks that you were spending all your time on. And now AI can take a fraction of that or a lot of that and make it more efficient and quicker for you. So there's no need perhaps for you to be in the office for a full 5 days per week. I think the third way is the data analytics and insights to make the whole work companies more efficient, to be able to cull large, vast amounts of data as a company and to actualize that or to put that into business processes are ultimately going to give you more better insights and make you more profitable is fantastic. And finally, it's remote work. It's not an excuse, I think, the fourth kind of AI revolution for the workplace. It's not going to make it an excuse for you to stay at home or workers to stay at home. I think it will, because AI is so advanced that you can do actually communicate and do your work remotely, right? And let's say, for example, it makes you difficult to go in the office. Let's say you have a handicap. Let's say you're in a wheelchair, or you have some kind of disease that prevents you from going to the office frequently as a normal person would do. Well, AI is going to be able to have your work be able to be done remotely, right? Or at least a large fraction of that. So it's not all bad. And these things that, say that we have to be in the office 5 days a week. I mean, who started that crap in the first place? That's not, I certainly don't agree with that. I think, yeah, you need to be in the office sometime per week, but you don't, certainly, I think it's actually inefficient, because if you consider the amount of time you're commuting back and forth, you go out to lunch with your colleagues, these are all time suckers. And probably at the end of the day, if you do go to work, you're spending 2 hours to commute, another 2 hours to eat lunch and socialize, and then what percentage of the time are you actually being efficient in doing work? Now, the types of stocks I think that are going to obviously benefit from these types of AI innovations and creations and advanced technologies, of course, is the AI, the chips, the data centers, everything's supporting that. Companies like NVIDIA, AMD, hyperscalers such as AWS, everyone who's involved in perhaps developing the hardware servers like SMCI to support the AI and generative AI is obviously going to benefit greatly from this boom. Now, how this is going to end up, who knows, but I certainly think that AI is advancing, and it's only going to get better and better to where we become more efficient workers. And why have going to the office 5 days a week? I certainly know the majority of people don't support that, and there's better ways to work. We do, as humans, need social interaction. I agree with that, and there's some efficiencies to meeting, but it's not to the point where you have to go 5 days a week. And AI will only make it better and give opportunities for people to reduce their workload and make their commuting time to the office less and less. Well, anyway, thanks a lot for joining today's channel. Don't forget to click and subscribe, and see you on the next video. Take care.